Good afternoon. We are going to go over a couple of examples to review what you learned in Algebra 1 yesterday, which should have been combining like terms and distributive property put together, section 1.6. So I'm just going to lead you through a couple of these and make sure that you are okay and good to go. You need to make sure that you are watching this whole video because throughout the video there will be some questions that pop up and you will need to answer them to get credit for those as well. So when you are simplifying an expression, if there is any place that you can distribute, you want to distribute first. So on this example that we have here, we have this 3 outside of the parenthesis. So the very first thing that I'm going to do to simplify this is I am going to go ahead and distribute that 3. Notice that I only distributed it to the 2 terms that were inside of the parenthesis. So when I distribute, 3 times x is going to give me 3x, and 3 times 6 is going to give me positive 18. And then I still have this 7x on the end that's coming with me. So now to continue simplifying this, I need to identify which of these are like terms. So if you remember from a couple days ago, like terms have to have the exact same variable. So I look at these 3 terms and I notice that 2 of them have an x with them. So 3x and positive 7x are going to be my like terms. So I'm going to just add those together. 3 plus 7 is going to give me 10. So I would have 10x. And then I still have that plus 18. 18 didn't have anybody to combine with, but it's still a part of the expression. So we need to make sure that we keep it there. And this would be your simplified expression. So I'm going to write another one up here for us to work through. So if we try to take a look at this. So on this one, I have a couple of places that I see a subtraction sign. And if you remember, what I've been encouraging you to do when you see a subtraction sign is to change it to addition, and then that makes the number that came after it change signs. So this would become plus a negative 7 as well. So now it's a little easier for you to see here that what we are distributing is this negative 3 to what's inside of the parentheses here. So when I distribute that, the terms that were not in the parenthesis are not going to change. So this is going to stay 6m, but then I have negative 3 times m, so that's going to become a negative 3m. Negative 3 times positive 5 is going to become negative 15. And then I'm still going to have this plus a negative 7 on the end. Now by distributing that negative 3, I did end up with some subtraction signs sort of coming back in the way that I wrote that. But remember, again, we can make that plus a negative and plus a negative to help us at our next step. So now I need to locate my like terms. So I have 6m, which would be a like term with negative 3m. And then I have negative 15, which is a like term with negative 7. So when I take 6m plus negative 3m, they have different signs. So remember, when they have different signs, you subtract them. 6 minus 3 is 3, and take the sign of the bigger number. So 6 was bigger, it's positive. This is going to be positive 3m. And then I have a negative 15 plus a negative 7. So when they have the same signs, we add them and keep the sign. So 15 plus 7 would give you 22. And since they are both negative, that's going to be negative 22. So this would be your simplified expression. Okay, so we're going to look at one more before you go to work on your own example. So if we simplify this one is a little different because you have multiple sets of parentheses. But I'm still going to encourage you to have your first step be changing any subtraction sign to plus a negative. So I'm going to make this plus a negative 6, plus a negative 3, and plus a negative 1. So I'm going to distribute twice here. The first place that I'm distributing is I'm distributing this 4 to only the two terms in the parenthesis that it's in front of. So 4 times 2m would give me positive 8m. Then I have 4 times a negative 6, which would give me negative 24. And then I'm moving over to my second set of parentheses. And in this set, what I'm distributing is a negative 3. So that negative 3 has to get distributed to 7m and also to negative 1. So negative 3 times positive 7 would give you a negative 21, and that's going to have an m with it. And then negative 3 times negative 1, remember a negative times a negative becomes a positive, so that's going to become positive 3. So now I need to find and mark my like terms. So 8m would be a like term with negative 21m. And then negative 24 would be a like term with positive 3. So as I combine these, 8 minus 21, which remember that's the same as plus a negative. So 8 plus a negative 21, they have different signs, so I'm going to subtract them. 21 minus 8 would give you 13, and keep the sign of the bigger number. So that would be negative 13m. And then the same thing's going to happen here. I have negative 24 plus a positive 3. So they have different signs, so I'm going to subtract them. 24 minus 3 is 21. And then keep the sign of the bigger number. So that would be a negative 21. This is your simplified expression. I have posted for you next in this module a practice with this. You are set up to be able to take that practice 2 times if you would like. So if it does not go well the first time and you're not going to be happy with that grade in the grade book, then you need to go through and try it a second time. And then tomorrow we will work on reviewing for your test in Algebra 1. Have a good day.